today's session. Okay, I want to thank you all for joining today's session of the Oceans Leadership Series. And this is number 16 since we started it in, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly, 2022. And it's my pleasure once again to have you all here with us. I would like to have in the chat section from everyone, just type where you're joining from. Me, I'm joining from Bruges in Belgium. And just please type in the chat section where you're joining from, if you're an Aquaworld member, and what you hope to learn or what you hope to get from today's session, or why you joined today's session. Please let's engage using the chat session. Do I have people here?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Okay, Aziz is joining from Paris, France. You're welcome. Paul Ayomide is also joining from France. Abibat is joining from Nigeria. Bashir is joining from Nigeria as well. Okay, great to have you all here. Bashir, could you confirm if you are a member of Aquaworld? With a yes or no, please.
Yes, I am a member of Aquaworld.
Okay, great. I asked because I would want to do a brief introduction into Aquaworld, but if I'm correct, everyone here is a member of Aquaworld. There is no external person here except for our speaker. And I believe he already has an idea what Aquaworld is all about. Paul Latunji, you're joining from Belgium. Thank you for joining. Okay, I guess I would have to skip that part about Aquaworld, but if you have a doubt, Aquaworld is a youth-led organization, an NGO, with the primary focus on the aquatic environment. It has different areas, different working projects, different activities that it carries out to achieve this goal. And one of it is this Ocean Leadership Series, of which we are joining today. And the main aim of this series is to enlighten us about the aquatic environment, not just tell us about the aquatic environment, but also give us the capacity or build us in areas in which we can give our own quota to ensuring that the marine environment is safe. Moving forward, I think we would move straight up into the activity of today. But just before we enter or before we proceed, I just want to point out some netiquettes. We all know that this is a virtual session. It's not a physical session, but then there are some things that would be expected of us. And one of it, we already know that this call is being recorded. If you have concerns, please reach out to us. If you don't want your face or something about you to be on the internet, please let us know. And as much as we can, we would love to see our faces. So if you are in a conducive environment where you can enable your videos, please do. We'd love to have an engaging session today. And if you're not speaking, please would love to have your mics muted. I see everyone is already muted. Thank you very much. And would encourage us to respect everyone here. We are all humans. If you want to communicate, please communicate effectively and respectfully. And that would be it for the netiquette. I'll just briefly read our speaker's bio today before we go into today's session. 1 minute, please. Just give me a minute. Okay. Today we have the pleasure of having Gabriel Onyebuolise with us. Onyebuolise, I hope I pronounced that correctly. So Gabriel stands at the forefront of innovation and sustainability, distinguished by over 5 years of dedicated experience in designing and implementing transformative green projects for social enterprises and NGOs. His work focuses on making a positive impact on people's lives through meaningful collaborations with local and international organizations, addressing critical issues such as education, health, and climate change. Gabriel's expertise in grant and proposal writing has been instrumental in raising up to $1 million for green social enterprises in Nigeria, enabling them to scale both impact and investment. He has actively supported regional and national projects aimed at protecting the environment while empowering women and youth with green skills to foster long-term sustainable growth. In addition to a strong background in research, project management, advocacy, public speaking, and facilitation, Gabriel approaches problem solving through human-centered design, ensuring that the solutions developed truly meet the needs of the communities he serves. He holds a bachelor's degree in animal and environmental biology from the University of Benin and a master's in sustainability and development from Ben Gurion University of the Negev, Israel, which has further strengthened his commitment to sustainability and innovative solutions for global challenges. So Gabriel Onyebuolise, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for having this session today. I'll stop right now.
All right. Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you to Aquaworld. Like you mentioned, I believe everyone on the call is a member of Aquaworld, and it's so exciting and interesting to be part of this conversation today, or the series, Ocean Leadership Series. So it's really a privilege to be here and to share and learn from everyone. So Aziz joining from Paris, I see Paul, I see Abibat, joining from Nasarawa State. I see Paul, yes, joining from Belgium, awesome. And I see Paul Ayomide. Okay, there are two Pauls here. Ayomide, happy to have you here as well. So thank you very much, everyone. I would like to share my screen. I don't know if I need permission to do that.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So at any point you don't hear me clearly or it's breaking, just let me know. Let me know, because I've been having some network glitch, so. All right, so today we will be discussing and talking about expounding key areas for building a career in marine sustainability. So I'm working with from the position, I don't think it's an assumption. I'm working with the fact that everyone here already have knowledge in the aspect of in marine sustainability, or understand what it means to have a career in marine sustainability, because I believe most persons here already have knowledge in biology and other fields that we're going to discuss and explore in a couple of minutes. So I would focus, putting more priority on a couple of my last slides, where I would be talking about skill sets and planning your career, talking about marine sustainability. But for good context, and having to just look at, again, reflecting on the importance of the sector in marine sustainability, because it's good to actually know the value of the sector or field where you play in, that value that you bring or provide would give you a sense of how you should position yourself and how you should reach out to people, or rather what you should even be discussing when negotiating for a job or talking about roles in that field. So it's good to actually know the value of the sector, the future projections of the sector, what the sector holds for you as an individual, and looking at why you should even build a career in marine sustainability. So human activities, like we know, such as overfishing, pollution, and climate change, are putting significant pressure on marine ecosystems. And we already know the role the marine ecosystem plays in trying to preserve our environment and keeping our planet safe for everyone. I'm talking about the ocean being a major carbon sink, and having to control temperature of the atmosphere, as well as providing livelihoods for people, also becoming a good source of protein, that's food for us as humans. It's also a means of tourism. So when you look at the advantages of the ocean, you see that it's massive and it's huge. And even till date, the marine environment, looking at oceans, still being studied. It's massive. The ocean fascinates me. I don't know about you. Anytime I get the opportunity to be sailing in a ship or a boat, it's both scary and fascinating, right? Trying to look at the massive body of water. And what's even more fascinating is the fact that when you look at the depth, when talking about depth of the ocean, it's fascinating for me. Hello?
We couldn't hear you for like a couple of seconds.
Oh, sorry. What was the last word you heard?
The ocean is fascinating to you.
Oh, okay.
When,
So
yeah.
I was saying that I find the ocean fascinating, as well as scary. Anytime I get to, be in a boat or a ship, it's, just missed feeling, having to look at the mass body of water. And it's even more fascinating getting to know that the depth of the ocean we're talking about kilometers, and it's really interesting getting to go, people having to go that deep to try to understand what's going down there. And the study about the ocean is something that a whole lot of opportunities are still there, because there's still a whole lot of gap in research as regards the ocean, or trying to understand the marine ecosystem and environment. So because of how important the ocean is, and we all know that up to 75% of the world, the earth, is covered by water. So water becomes a major part or a major aspect of the planet, of our lives. It's something we can't really ignore. So having to protect and restore this vital ecosystem is really essential, for long-term health of our planet and the well-being of future generations. So the first perspective I want everyone on the call to have is the fact that the ocean is a very integral part of our lives, and it's a very integral part of preserving the planet, for long-term health of everyone, and even as well as the preservation for future generations. So having that position places the conversation about the marine environment in a different light, right? It helps us to see the importance, because I think because most persons, or based on where we live, especially in this part of our country, Nigeria, we really don't have that much interaction with the ocean, apart from maybe the beaches that are just majorly in Lagos, where we have those beaches because they're on the shoreline. But really, people don't have that much engagement with the marine environment, and really that understanding, it's not so much in this part of the world. But a whole lot of changes are already happening, and there's a rising demand, right, for sustainability professionals and experts, because it have become obviously a global conversation. When you see the COP that just happened, that's COP 29 at Azerbaijan, that just ended. Even if the reports we're hearing from that COP are not sounding so exciting, right? I think they were forecasting from the forecast and projections to how many $1 trillion is needed yearly to combat climate change, both in mitigation and adaptation. But then the pledge that was, signed at the end of COP, from what I hear, was around $300 billion. And that wasn't, good enough for that implementation. But then there's really a growing demand, especially in the corporate space, which is the aspect I want us to really pay attention to and explore. Because when you look at the marine careers in marine sustainability, most times as students, as researchers, as educators, most of us being in academia, we prioritize the research, just the research aspect of marine sustainability as a career path. But then there are a whole lot of aspects that we can actually explore, simply because it's a global conversation now, preserving the environment, and corporate organizations that are in different sectors that you've never even thought of would try to think about sustainability or preserving the environment, are now having conversations about. And from statistics, up to 81% of executives report the creation of new roles and responsibilities to meet additional disclosure requirements. So the growing demand for sustainability professionals highlights the critical needs for skills in this area. So most corporate organizations are even creating new roles now. If you begin to search, you're going to be finding roles, chief sustainability officer. Those roles didn't exist maybe 10 years back. You're going to be finding roles in innovation and different aspects of, conversation around and roles around marine sustainability. You're going to even be finding roles as an educator, right, or a facilitator or a consultant. So a lot of roles and opportunities are opening within this sector because organizations are being forced, right, or they have the obligation now to actually preserve the environment, and this is factoring into their CSR and ESG reports. And those are the areas you can research about. Check CSRs and ESGs of companies and those who really care about those aspects, and you begin to explore those opportunities and careers in the those particular areas. So careers in sustainability place you at the forefront of these crucial transitions, ensuring that you're part of shaping the future. Again, it's just to have a perception of how you position yourself, seeing that there's a whole lot of future projection for the role. Sustainability professionals are essential in developing and implementing solutions to global environmental challenges such as climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. So please note these three aspects that I just mentioned, because we would revisit it as we discuss further. Areas of climate change, so you just know how to position yourself. Climate change, pollution, or biodiversity loss, these are aspects that can be explored. And another exciting thing to note about the marine sustainability sector is the fact that you can enter almost any industry, right? Sounds really strange, but then, like I mentioned, because of the obligation that's being put on a whole lot of industries, talking about the manufacturing industry, looking at the agricultural industry, you find out that it's important, it becomes a concern and priority for them to begin to integrate roles that require marine sustainability, because it requires the preservation of the environment. And even now, we have, if you also want to check out that information, you can research about green bonds, you can research about sustainability linked bonds. So sometimes, or rather most times, organizations prioritize these routes because they really want to assess those funding or financial instruments to try to raise more capital for their project implementation. So that's an opportunity you can explore, look into, and try to leverage those opportunities by building particular skills that would make you stand out for these roles. So sustainability skills are applicable across a wide range of industries, from manufacturing to agriculture to finance and technology. This versatility allows you to choose a sector that aligns with your interest and make meaningful contribution. So pursuing a career in sustainability enables you to promote ethical practices, enhance environmental stewardship, and contribute to social well-being. And your efforts will help to create a better and more sustainable world for future generations. So that's really like the bottom line of everything, or what you're trying to do or achieve in building a career in this part. So I think for me, what's most interesting in pursuing a career in this part is the impact that it creates. Looking at it just creates a holistic impact, talking about economic impact, talking about social impact, talking about environmental impact. It's just holistic. The impact is massive working within this sector. And that really, for me, is the fulfillment and interesting thing that, makes it exciting for me to function or work within this sector. So it depends on you, what is really your interest, what excites you in trying to build a career, within this field. What are your skill sets? And when you look at your long-term goal, what are you looking at achieving? So those are the questions you ask yourself before you, begin to build your path and chart your path, going forward. So I would just explore in the next couple of slides, key areas for career in sustainability, right? Some of the key areas when you look at marine conservation, that's in careers that help to protect and preserve the marine environment and their biodiversity. We're looking at career paths in marine biology, and we're looking at conservation officer, we're looking at marine park ranger, and we're looking at an environmental educator, right? Those are the parts that you can, read further on and see what skill sets. Usually how you research this is to look at the future projections for you within your career path. What are the core future positions that you aspire to occupy or try to thrive in, right? So when you get that, you're able to then go further to understand what the role requires, what are the skill set required, and what are the qualifications required for that role. So it helps you to, begin to make plans and work towards achieving that goal or attaining that particular fit or position. So the skill sets that you can consider or have to build upon when considering a part in marine conservation would be the scientific knowledge, fieldwork skills, right? You need communication skills and policy analysis. I would emphasize, throw more emphasis on policy analysis as we go further. Then for marine science, talking about the study of the ocean, its ecosystems, and its habitats. When I started, I mentioned the fact that the study of the ocean, right, it's really yet a massive opportunity because there are loads of discoveries that have still not been done when you talk about studying the ocean. And it's so exciting to know that most of the audience here are in different locations, and that gives room for that level of exploration, right? Depending on where you are in Europe, that makes it even more interesting for you, where being in those locations, because I believe most of those career paths are best to, have to study them in those locations. So the opportunity is just open for you being in Europe or, somewhere outside of Africa. So looking at parts in oceanography, marine chemists, marine geologists, and fisheries scientists, having to just understand the marine ecosystem. And like I mentioned earlier, industries and different sectors would actually this knowledge, because when they begin to function and analyze or trying to make decisions for some of the products they make, or for some organizations who maybe have waste that they're discharging into the environment. So having to work or function as a consultant who understands the marine environment would actually be a huge and massive plus for you, and would be a great way to enter into and play within such industries. The skill sets that you would try to consider here would be scientific research, data analysis, lab work, and technical diving. All right. Who in our, does anyone here dive or have tried diving before? Please drop it on the chat. I would like to know. Let me see. Anyone here, you've tried diving? Ocean? Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me and see me? Oh, Aziz.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, amazing. Aziz, I've tried diving. Okay, I assume most of my audience here are Nigerians or Africans, yeah? Oh, interesting. So we have divers here. That's bold and that's courageous. Okay, so technical diving can be a skill set, and swimming, so you can be able to navigate and all of that. So this, if you want to play within this career path, that would really be interesting and exciting to also go study, know more about the job description, the skill set required, and the qualifications, plan and work towards those goals. Then for marine policy and management, right, I think policy is a very massive and open sector, or rather part of when you're building a career within this sector, right? Policies guide everything, right? If you look at even case studies in several countries, policies are the foundation for how things function. So no matter what people do, even within the private sector, as much as they are putting in energy, doing all the good work, if there are no good policies, trust me, nothing would ever thrive or function. Policies are the major conversation that happen in COP, right? And policies require a whole lot of data, right? Policies require data, and that's the reason policies are supposed to, or rather policies work hand in hand with research, because policies need informed data to make the right decisions. And as much as requiring data for the right decisions, it also requires a whole lot of negotiations, because what makes policy, right, a bit challenging, especially conversations around climate change, is the fact that you have 198 countries trying to negotiate and come to a consensus. So that's going to really be a whole lot of work. So I'm sure you've had an experience before where you're trying to look into a situation and you're having conversation with maybe 3 or 5 parties, trying to unanimously agree about a particular situation on what to do or how to proceed. You see how hectic it can be, of 3 or 5. Now we're talking about 198, or all 198 with their personal interest on the table. So it's a whole lot of work having to discuss policies within the local level, the national level, the regional level, and the global level. So policy is an interesting area that you can play in, because the area of sustainability, what's also interesting about it is the fact that it's a global challenge, and it have obviously gotten this international attention. So it's a global concern for almost everyone. So when you're looking at this, you're trying to develop and implement policies that will help to protect and sustainably manage marine resources. So as regards the marine resources, what policies should guide the world globally when you're talking about oceans? For me, I still believe that what connects us majorly, that makes the world a global village, is the oceans. When you look at everything, and that's the reason the conversation about preserving the ocean becomes really important, because what someone is doing in Africa is influencing someone else in maybe South America. And what someone is doing over there in America and Europe is imparting vulnerable communities here who don't even have enough resources. So it's a global problem, and that makes it really exciting. So having to talk about career paths in policy analyst, environmental lawyer, marine spatial planner, international development specialist. These are roles that you can try to look at and explore, trying to make sense of data, trying to make sense of information, trying to do a whole lot of analysis, looking at policy analysis, legal knowledge, negotiation skills, because you're going to have a lot of dialogues when you're looking at policies, then international relations, because it's an issue of global concern. So policy is an interesting sector that you can, try to play in. Another interesting part of this is the engineering aspect of it. For those of us who have technical skills in engineering, so that's another part that you can play. Designing and developing technology to support marine activities, such as a naval architect, marine engineer, ocean engineer, renewable energy engineer. So you see how diverse the roles are really becoming and expanding, and the conversation is really big. So for some of the roles, you have to, get to be in the ocean. Why some roles you don't even have to be within the ocean? You can be in this terrestrial environment, because where does waste, for example, you're focusing on pollution aspects of the conversation, then you're looking for hotspots where waste actually leaks into the water body, and how are you going to, what kind of programs, what kind of projects are you going to implement in order to reduce the amount of waste that gets into the ocean, or trying to work with an interceptor, which I will show us in the next slide, of a company already doing that. Then the skill set, if you're looking at engineering, would be engineering principles, obviously, computer-aided designs, project management, and problem solving. So looking, so some of us would, or most of us would know this company. They function as an NGO, I believe, the Ocean Cleanup. And their goal is to, execute or carry out the largest cleanup in history. And they are raising funds. So far, they've raised a whole lot of funds. I believe they forecasted, I can't remember, up to about $3 billion dollars to be able to clean up the entire ocean by 2040. So this have to do, when you try to look up on what they do, you find out that almost all the skill sets with all the career paths and skill sets we've outlined in the previous slides are needed for what they do here, talking about engineering, talking about analysts, talking about policies, right? Because you need to understand policies before you even begin to implement projects. There are a whole lot of policies guiding the preservation of the ocean, because it's everyone's concern. So you need to understand policies before even implementing projects within the ocean. And what they do is pollution control, having to intercept mostly plastics from the ocean, and it's a cleanup project. So you can look it up and try to see some of the skill sets and know the areas where it really aligns for you. So again, just showing more about what they're doing, how the interceptor works, and how they're able to evacuate all of that. So you see their aim here to clean up 90% of floating ocean plastic pollution by 2040. So of organizations and companies, what you should be looking at researching to try to understand what are their future projections, what are they looking at as regards protecting the marine environment, and what skill sets that you have that you can build and offer, as well as looking forward to engaging with organizations like this. So what would you need in order to scale or continue to build your career path in marine sustainability? Please let me know if you're still with me.
Yes, Gabriel.
Can you hear me? Oh, nice. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
All right. Okay, great. I just wanted to be sure. Then for education and training is what you obviously to continue to build and scale your career path in marine sustainability. So you're looking at having a solid and educational foundation. And that means you have to, do courses around marine science, biology, environmental science, or a related field. And funny enough, in as much as science is involved here, even the arts have a role to play here. Looking at policies, I just believe that a whole lot of roles that are opening up in the field of marine sustainability would, even as much as it's requires scientific knowledge, would also require a whole lot of other aspects like engaging people. For example, what I do from my end, I come from BSc science background. Animal and environmental biology is my first degree. Before I started, venturing sustainability and development. And I believe one of the core problems that we encounter or face, right, globally, is the issue of human interactions, human activities, really the problems, the major, issue driving some of these changes that we are seeing today. So having to engage with people, having to drive projects or design projects that would drive behavioral change, it's something that is very pivotal and important at a time like this. So even the arts, talking about art and humanities, have a role to play within this sector as well. And an advanced degree will also help, which I believe most of us here are already having advanced degrees, talking about master's programs, PhDs, and fellowships. Help to really broaden your knowledge more, help you to delve into the field more, understand more about it, and build a skill set. But more importantly, when you have an educational foundation, an advanced degree, what's really important is engaging that knowledge. If you're not able to engage your knowledge, it's just almost as good as not even having the foundation in the first place, because engaging it and having experience is really important, because studying, knowing what's on paper, knowing what's in the book, knowledge, that's head knowledge, it's not enough. You need to get hands-on experience. So the experience, and mind you, what people usually recruit you for, right? It's not based on the certifications you have, right? In as much as certifications are really important, what companies would engage you for would be based on the experience you've had over time. They pay for experience, right? Companies pay high money, right? Or place high value in the experience you've already gathered over time. So experience is very important. If you do not have enough experience, even with your certificate and your advanced degrees, there might be a struggle for you within the sector. Reason being, people want you to just take the job head on, be as fast as possible, take leadership, right? The more experience someone has, the lesser mistakes they are going to make, because you've made mistakes before, you've learned from it, and you know what to do. So companies want to save a whole lot of time and save money. And that's the reason they look for people with hands-on experience. So engaging your knowledge is really priority and important. And ways you can engage your knowledge are through internship, right? If you do not have enough hands-on experience or knowledge yet, it's good to start with an internship. It's good to volunteer when you've not even found an internship role. Try and get a place to volunteer. And I see that Aquaworld provides that environment where people can gain skills and knowledge. So organizations like Aquaworld really doing an amazing job where people get to learn more about the marine environment and, get to volunteer their time to do all of this, partner and collaborate with other industry experts would really be helpful and resourceful. And then also gain research experience as well. It's really important. Research is still a wide opportunity in the field of marine sustainability. So research is priority. So having a research skill, whether quantitative data analysis or qualitative, mostly quantitative, right, would prove as a great asset for you field and sector. Then what essential skills do you really need to develop, right, in order to thrive within the sector? Then we're looking at soft skills such as communication. I think communication is one of the most important skill set even for any sector, right? If you're not so far, what I've noticed in my career journey is the fact that I can't quantify it, but I believe more than 50% of what I do now is more of communication, whether international communication, external communication. So it's really pivotal to learn how to communicate, right? Know at every point in time what you should be communicating and how you should communicate with both your employers, your team, and external stakeholders as well. So communication is really key. And especially the fact that you're talking something global, you need to be communicating with those beyond even Africa, right? Then teamwork is really important. You can't do this alone. The problem is massive. When you look at the problem of climate change, pollution, and the biodiversity issues, it's massive. It's not a problem that just one person can think and fix. And so it's something you have to bring in teamwork, get other people's perspective, especially when you're working even in policy. You need to listen to people. Their perspective might not, align with what you think, but you have to show that level of respect and listen to everyone, and then trying to, ensure you're bringing in more data and facts to why your perspective, right, should stand. Then problem solving is really important aspect as well. Critical thinking is very important. Adaptability, you need to be adaptable, right? Those are skill sets, soft skills that you can really prioritize and look at developing when building a career in this part. Then the technical skills you would look at would be data analysis. I think data analysis is priority for when you look at marine conservation. You need a whole lot of data. You need to understand where the problems are coming from. You need to understand data about before and after, right? Looking at the coral reef, what's the journey, what's the transition, what's happening within those. So data is important. GIS is really important. Remote sensing, diving, and boat handling are really important technical skills. This is a sample showing hotspots, right? How plastic really gets to move around, within the ocean. And they tried to analyze. This is an example of using data, right, to understand what's going on globally. And this is data analysis and GIS together a whole mix of different technological tools to actually get this information. So the red points are the top 1,000 rivers, because materials, plastics are flowing from rivers within communities down into the ocean. And the red parts are really like the hotspots. We see in Africa, the Gulf of Guinea being like a major hotspot there. And that's the reason you're going to find a whole lot of projects that would, try to reduce the amount of waste that is getting into those environments. And there's also another graphical representation or visual representation showing how waste moves. So with that, you're going to see waste moving from Africa and navigating to other parts of the world. Waste also navigating and moving from other parts of the world. It's just something that is transboundary. Yeah, that's the word. So there's nothing stopping the waste, from anywhere. So waste is moving from one location and it's impacting everyone globally. So data like this helps to understand where the high waste is coming from. And then that would help to also direct funding to say, these are the areas where waste is really leaking into the environment. These are the areas where we need to fund. These are the projects we need to do using technologies like interceptors. Then more importantly, having to execute projects that have to do with behavioral changes. And there's also another aspect that I'm trying to learn and utilize in a recent project called Protigo. And in that project, we're trying to reduce the amount of marine waste that gets into the ocean, looking at the axis of the Gulf of Guinea. And this project is being done in Nigeria and Ghana. So what we're doing in that project is we're utilizing what we call citizen science. You can study more about it. And this is about engaging local communities to be involved in research work, right? Having to make them engage in it, collect samples, analyze those samples, tend to understand what materials are leaking through, and through engaging them in the research process, we're then going further to educate them, and it's going to happen over 3 years. So it's not really like 3 years might be short term, but after 3 years, because you've engaged them over that long period of time, the assumption, right, or the intended outcome is the fact that it's going to enlighten them and then try to drive some form of behavioral change where they understand that, whatever waste they are throwing into the environment isn't good, and bring about a change of habits on the long run. So planning your career is really important. I believe that there's nothing more rewarding than a planned career. Most times why there's a whole lot of struggle for some persons is the fact that they never had a plan, right? Some persons even stumbled into the marine sustainability sector. And if you stumble here, that's not bad. But then you have to now sit down to ask yourself questions. You have to really plan out, have a detailed career plan. You need to find time to actually do it. It's important. When you have a plan, you know what you're doing, you know when you're succeeding, and when you're not, you know the direction to, actually follow. So a plan is really necessary and important, right? So if you must succeed, you need a realistic career pathway to help you track and measure your growth. So you need to know when you're succeeding and when you're not. So how do you know your career is even moving forward or backward or static, right? So you need to aim for those positions. You need to outline your desired roles. What are your target roles? So when you research roles within this sector, say chief sustainability officer, and the likes of that, educator, specialist, consultant, get to the highest level where you desire to be, right? So that's what you outline. You look at, the job description for these roles, right? And you can do top 3 for you, or if you can, still do top 5, some of the roles you can play in. So having multiple of these roles helps you to know the jobs that you're looking out for. So comparing the JDs, sometimes the name, the title of the role might not be same as you've named it, but when you compare the job descriptions and the skill set, you see that it aligns and matches. It guides you to what you're applying for or what you're pursuing, right? So it gives you a whole lot of form and direction. Then what you do is to list them out on a table, right? I used Microsoft Word for this. You could use PowerPoint, whatever tool that it's comfortable or convenient for you. You can utilize it, right, in analyzing these roles. So when you've listed these top roles where you want, that's the future roles that you desire, you analyze the skill sets required for these roles. Remember, when you've listed those roles, you're putting out 3 major things: the job description, the skills required, and the qualifications required for that role. So look at it in detail, look at companies that even have those roles or have created those roles before, right? Then analyze the skill sets within those roles. Those roles you've listed, you can put them in a table. The header of the table is those roles. Then you list the skill sets and use color coding to analyze them to just make it easier for you and visual. So you're able to see it. Once you see it, you know, right? So what I did when I did mine was to analyze those roles and use the color codes: green, red, orange. And so the green talks about skills and qualifications you already have, right? The red talks about skills and qualifications you currently lack. Then the orange talks about skills and qualifications you need to sharpen or improve. So you categorize them like this. So when you've listed the skill sets, you use the color codes to just put them. So once you put the color codes, what you're going to find out is, looking at all of the skill sets, where do you have more reds? So you know that within that sector, you do not have a whole lot of strength to play within that role. Where do you have a lot of greens? That should be your priority, right? So it gives you a chance to grow into where you want to be. So you start from your strength. Where you have more greens, it means you have more skill sets to actually apply for roles related to that particular position. So having mind, it helps you to start your career from that part and begin to, empower or develop other skill sets. So what you do next will now be to categorize the skills. So now you've seen those skills that you've, color coded in green, red, and orange. So you categorize those skills. So, these are the greens are the skills you now already have. The reds are the ones you need to, maybe sharpen. The orange, sorry, are the ones you need to sharpen. Then the red, the ones you currently lack. So when you categorize those skills, it helps you to now start from your strength, right? Look for positions where you already have the core strength and start from there and begin to work on the skills, sharpening your skills. And the ones you lack, you think about, okay, what do you need to do? Do you need to take another course? Do you need to go for another program? Do you need an internship to get that, skill set? Or what's the picture it gives you at the end of the day when you carry out this, exercise? It's that it gives you an idea where to start from. What are your core strengths? So you understand your core strengths and put your core strengths out and then build up to sharpening and, trying to gather the other skill sets which you do not have. So in conclusion, a career in marine sustainability offers growing demand, future-oriented work, opportunities to tackle global issues, versatility across industries, and a chance to make a positive impact. Embracing this path is not only a wise professional choice, but also a vital contribution to a sustainable world. So we're all talking about sustainability. Sounds like a buzzword. Sounds like we're talking. Sounds like we're doing a lot, but really, it's important. And I enjoy all of us here to actually take this career with a great sense of pride, understanding that what we're doing transcends beyond us as individuals, and begin to build that career path. And I encourage us to actually carry out the exercise which I narrated, listing the desired roles, analyzing the skill set for those roles, and then analyzing the skills that you have and you're going to build. So thank you very much for having me and listening to me to this time. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Gabriel. That was an interesting session or an interesting presentation. Okay, now it's time for question, answers, other things in between. Yeah, so we have heard marine sustainability as a career and what it entails, what you need to do. If there's one thing that I really picked out when you mentioned that with sustainability, you can enter any industry, that is really true. Because in my job search, in some job searches, when you go to some industries that are maybe not even marine related or even science related, sometimes you see them needing a sustainability officer. It's really diverse and you can do a lot of things when you have skills as a marine sustainability expert or a sustainability expert generally. So we'd open the floor now for question and answers. If you want to speak, please raise your hand to speak. If you want to type in the chat, please do so. And just to add, before the questions would start coming in, I believe most of us here are in science. That's just an assumption, and I hope I'm correct. And it's possible that you are looking at switching, or you are already in the marine, or you want to incorporate some knowledge of sustainability into your career. Now the word is, there is a lot of information that you can even go out there to source on your own. So you necessarily may not even need to go to a university or get a university degree, just so to speak, because you might already have a bachelor's or a master's or something. So it's just, I'm trying to say what you can do, you can get some knowledge from these online courses, these one they call MOOCs, Coursera, Udemy, and all of those places. I believe you can sharpen your skills also through those platforms. So even if you don't want to, say, go to the university to study sustainability, you can take on these courses that would help you sharpen your skills. And I would also like to mention project management. That is also very key, because people would like to employ someone who has those skills to manage a project, to collaborate with both internal and external stakeholders. So you want to have those skills in your bag so you can dish it out whenever it's necessary, whenever it's needed. And yes, we are still waiting for your questions. So if it was very clear and you don't have questions, that's also good. But yes, if you have doubts, if you have challenges, if you have questions, please shoot. Everyone is silent, okay. Okay, I will give a few more minutes for questions. If not, we would wrap up. Yes, thank you, boys. Thank you, our speaker. Gabriel, thank you very much. What an informative session from Abibat. Glad you gained insights. Will there be a second session of this program? What do you mean? Could you clarify what you mean? Is it like a follow-up of this particular topic or something else? Okay, I'm not in the position to say that. I guess the Ocean Leadership Series team would have a talk on that, but I can't give a definitive answer on this call. But I'm glad you gained knowledge and it was useful to you. Okay. Thank you, Abiba. So I just want to urge us all, just like he has highlighted in the last slides or in the few last slides, I never considered doing that, although I know I did some things like my strengths, my weaknesses, and all of that, just to know where I have to do more work. But also doing the Excel thing or the tabular form could also throw more lights, so you know where I really have to work on. And if you want to do a switch, it's also possible. Okay, I want to assume there are no questions. We had a great time here, and I really want to thank Gabriel for your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, so thank you very much for taking this time out to share this knowledge with us. We are very, very grateful from all of us in Aquaworld and also the Ocean Leadership Series team. We are grateful. Thank you. And it's I guess, the second to the last session of this year. Today is the second to the last. So I want us to look out for the next session, which tentatively will be happening next month, the last month of the year, 2024. And if you don't follow us yet on Aquaworld, please do. You can visit our website on aquaworld.org.ng just to get a hint about what we do. And if you want to also volunteer with us, you're also welcome. I think there are a couple of people here who are not yet volunteers. So if you want to join us, please feel free to send a message or send an email or just express your interest. And if you would like to revisit this session, if you want to, have a replay, the recording will be available on our YouTube channel on Aquaworld, the capital letter A and Aquaworld. So feel free to visit our YouTube channel and rewatch and, share as well, make comments or just engage with our content on YouTube. And before we sign out, I'd like to give the floor to the founder of Aquaworld, Paul Ayomide, for more or less the closing remark. Paul, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Special appreciation to the Foreign Hub Lead for pulling up this wonderful session. And a very big shout out to our hosts, Judith, and also our wonderful speaker, Mr. Gabriel, for this profound session. And I just want to encourage everyone, and for those that will be catching up with this on our YouTube channel, to stay engaged throughout this series, as all of the practical knowledge we are sharing, insight that you can leverage on to take actions. And today's session was very, very insightful, as it helps to highlight careers that young people can venture into when it comes to marine sustainability. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I had a very nice time, and I hope you all did. See you in our next edition.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. So bye-bye, everyone, and have a nice evening and a great week also. Bye.